April 25th, 2022. BTWN guys.
Now to some news.
Yeah, and apparently it has happened. We know that a couple of weeks ago, Elon Musk put in an offer of almost $44 billion to buy Twitter. And apparently we're hearing it is now a done deal. That Twitter's board, after much consideration, has decided that they're going to take his offer. The last we heard, it was around $54 a share, but because, as Sandra pointed out earlier, the share price was rising, Musk might have had to kick in another billion or so dollars. But it looks like Twitter is going to be transitioning from a public company to a privately held company now with Elon Musk at its head. And Sandra, everybody's wondering what this is going to mean. And apparently a lot of liberals have been almost losing their minds over this idea.
This is a done deal. The press release is officially out. Elon Musk to acquire Twitter. The deal, $54.20 a share, $54.20 a share. The news we knew was coming as of a few minutes ago, John, because Twitter shares, which have been spiking in anticipation of this news, were halted a few minutes ago pending news. So the stock is still not reacting because it's been halted so that this press release could come out. But this deal is valued at approximately $44 billion. I mean, that is an unbelievable amount of money. It will become upon the completion of this transaction, Twitter will become a privately held company. And it goes back to that Wall Street Journal piece that Bill Hemmer and I were digging into last hour. What exactly does this mean? And what exactly will he do with this company? Many are wondering whether or not he'll expose the algorithms inside that company, shake up leadership within that company. Will employees who have threatened to leave if he buys this company, will they actually follow?
So big news, Len Pettis, as Len joins me. Everybody, Len, is excited. Even our friends are excited. Chris Roseborough tweeting, or maybe it's on Facebook. He says the purchase of Twitter by Elon Musk may be as historically important as the fall of the Berlin Wall. Steve Camp, Pastor Steve Camp in Florida. Elon Musk buys Twitter today, and I hope he buys Facebook too. So be encouraged. The good guys are starting to win. Free speech is making a comeback. And
dear Pastor Steve Kemp, none is good. No, not one. Sincerely, Paul.
Yes. Well, he knows that too.
I know. I tease because I love.
Jake Davis shares in the President Trump's 2024 support group. Free speech wins, and he put Fox's report on in the box there. And then if I could show people how the Twitter, you see how the new Twitter,
the
new Twitter logo
Tesla
has
logo,
the Tesla logo as the. So everybody's excited, Len. You know who else is excited? Ben Shapiro on a video that he did. The real reason why Elon Musk is trying to buy Twitter, the last 20 seconds of this video that is 10 minutes long, he says the following.
On the left are very angry at Musk. I mean, listen, I think Musk is doing amazing work. I mean, first of all, he's an amazing entrepreneur. He's revitalized the space program in the United States. Tesla is an incredible company. And he is one of the great entrepreneurial stories of the 21st century, maybe the best entrepreneurial story of the 21st century. And the fact that he is now dipping his toe into these waters in an attempt to broaden freedom of speech makes him somewhat heroic. Okay, I'm not going to put any sort of shine on this. It is a heroic act to take your money and put it where your mouth is. If you believe that Twitter is doing a bad job in preventing content from being disseminated to the public, and then you decide to take billions of dollars and plop them on the table, this is an act of actual free speech heroism.
Free speech heroism. Len, are you excited?
I am skeptical. Look, I think we need to temper our enthusiasm and wait for things to unfold. I have never been convinced of the absolute altruism that people attribute to Elon Musk. And yet I am hopeful. I'm hopeful everybody's right, but I'm also fearful because Elon Musk may very well be a Lex Luthor type evil genius, and we just haven't been exposed to that side of him yet. Because up till now, he's never owned the world's largest data harvesting firm in the world. And let's face it now. Elon Musk owns more data than anybody in the world, and data is power. Period. So, I don't know. Do you want me to get right into my whole thing, or do you want?
Well,
what do you want? How do you want to handle this?
I want to continue to welcome people to the show. We're trying to do a live show. Well, this isn't live. We're recording it today on a Monday night, and it will also drop on tonight, Monday night, probably wee hours of the morning on Tuesday. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're going to be putting a lot of content here on this YouTube channel. For those of you who know Len, know that he looks a little different today than he even did last week. And we're going to talk about that because Len has Bell's palsy. And we're going to talk about his health situation. And it actually hit him. When did it hit you, Len?
As we recorded our last podcast.
And I think you're experiencing a delay in Len's audio with his video. That's unfortunate. We need to get his equipment upgraded. But you can see that his face doesn't look the way it normally does. And Len made a video on one of his YouTube channels. But we're going to talk about his health later. But for those of you who love Len and those of you who care, who are Christians, please be praying for Len and his battle with Bell's palsy. Yeah, Len, let's get right into it. We're also going to look through some tweets after we get done talking about Elon Musk, but maybe we'll go 30, maybe 40 minutes today. Yeah, Len, so you're concerned, and I find Elon bizarre.
Yeah.
He's extremely intelligent. But I wonder if he's always holding back. You always wonder if what he's saying is everything that he thinks on a particular subject, or he might be holding back a bit. And maybe that's part of your concern.
Listen, I have a Calvinistic view of man, a biblical view of man, that man is totally depraved. And I don't think Elon Musk, being a genius as he is, and I don't think he's exempt from that. But look, he may be Tony Stark. He may be Victor Von Doom. We don't know yet, dude. He does a lot of great things, and Ben Shapiro mentioned many of them. And, if this is truly all about free speech, and he makes Twitter an open platform, open meaning that everyone can see the code. You can see exactly, like Minds, or I think Getter might be open, like an open source platform, where basically you can see exactly what the administrators are doing, who is real, who's not, who's shadow banned, things like that. Great. If he does all that, I'm all for it. I am a free speech absolutist. I think that good or evil, that all speech should be allowed to exist. If you want to be a Holocaust denying or an anti-vaxxer, that's okay. That's okay, because the thing that defeats bad speech or hate speech or whatever you want to call it is good speech, counter arguments, debate, the arena of ideas, right? That's how you defeat bad ideas, is with good ideas in the arena of debate. So if that's what he's about, which is what he's saying, that's the front page of every newspaper right now, that he wants to make it a free speech platform. But you got to think of Elon Musk's capabilities as the genius that he is. Think of, I don't know if you've ever heard Elon Musk talk about the dangers of artificial intelligence. And he is the number one progenitor, if that's the word I'm looking for, or propagator or creator of artificial intelligence in the world. He's working toward the perfection of artificial intelligence, and to what end? I mean, I'm old enough that I saw Terminator 2. I know how this story ends, dude. I have no interest in that ball game. But you have to think of Tesla, SpaceX, and Neuralink, which should terrify all of us. If the things he says, if half of what he wants Neuralink to be capable of actually comes to fruition, we should be terrified, because it's going to create the greatest separation in classes that this world has ever known.
Here's let me read his latest tweet, okay? I'm going to put it on the screen for everybody. 6 hours ago, he says, free speech is the bedrock of functioning democracy, and Twitter is the digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated, said Mr. Musk. I also want to make Twitter better than ever by enhancing the product with new features, making the algorithms open source to increase trust, defeating the spam bots, and authenticating all humans. Twitter has tremendous potential. I look forward to working with the company and the community of users to unlock it. So he is cutting and pasting something that he said somewhere and giving it a big yes, a big thumbs up. 6 hours ago.
So think of what Elon Musk wants to do with artificial intelligence and Neuralink. You cannot have a perfected artificial intelligence without the input of ideas from every sphere of influence. So that means you can't have true artificial intelligence with censorship. It can't happen. If you censor half of the ideas in the world, how can you possibly have an accurate artificial intelligence that can truly think for itself and have a free will and come to its own decisions? You can't. So what I want to do now is talk a little bit about Tesla. Tesla is not a car company. People think of Tesla as this great electric car company that's going to usher in the future of green energy, and it may, but that's not the purpose of Tesla. Tesla is a data company that records feedback from its drivers and the environment around it. So do me a favor, Tim, ask Alexa or Google how many cameras are on a Tesla Model S.
Alexa, how many cameras are on a Alexa Model S?
Tesla Model X.
Here's something I found on the web. According to kitmondo.com, the 14-in camera recording formats of the Alexa SXTW is sure to give you satisfaction for any
Alexa, stop.
/video production needs you have.
Alexa, stop.
So you said Alexa Model S. You need to ask it about a Tesla Model S. As how many cameras are on a Tesla Model S?
Alexa, how many cameras are on a Tesla Model S?
Here's something I found on the web. According to insider.com, Tesla cars made since October 2016 come with 8 cameras that have a complete 360-degree range of vision around the car.
So,
8
cameras on a car with a 360-degree view. Let's not even talk about the surveillance capability that exists in that car. Let's just talk about its learning capabilities, because that's what Tesla is doing with its cars. It is mapping It is learning. It is gauging responses in real times at different speeds under different conditions in darkness, daylight, rain, fog, clear bluebird skies. It's recording all the data in every condition so it can have an autonomous self-driving vehicle that is going to be run through an AI platform, right? So it's a data company. Elon Musk, I believe it's entirely possible he wants Twitter for the data that he can harvest to continue to bring forth artificial intelligence and to supplement and supplant that into Neuralink, possibly. It's potentially terrifying.
Yeah, it is.
So, and let's say Elon Musk is the good guy. Who's seen Iron Man 1? Iron Man 1, Tony Stark was the good guy, and he had a partner that was evil and stole his technology to try to destroy him. So, okay, I don't want to dip too far into the realm of science fiction here, but let's just be real. Let's have a biblical worldview and understand that man is conceived in sin and brought forth in iniquity. And just because this guy agrees with our point of view, if you want to call Musk a conservative, I don't think anyone 5 years ago, 6 years, like prior to 2015, I don't think anyone would have called Elon Musk conservative. It's just that the left has gone so bat crap silly that everybody anywhere near the center is now conservative, So why are we automatically ascribing good to this move? Because whoop-de-doo, Babylon Bee gets their account back? Because Donald Trump is going to be on there tweeting again? Does it occur to anybody that Donald Trump lost the election because of Twitter? You really think him being back on Twitter gives him a better shot of winning election in 2024? I don't. He may sink his boat before it gets off the dock.
Surprisingly, Trump said today, April 25, that he won't come back on. He's going to stay on his own network, which I think would be kind of stupid for him to do. You got to go where the people are, and the people are on Twitter. Now, before you chime in on that, the people who think that Elon Musk is going to be the free speech whatever for all things.
Messiah.
I saw him respond to somebody on Twitter by saying the perfect balance is for 10% on either end of the spectrum to be unhappy. Len, I think we might be on the 10% of one of the ends. Right?
Yeah, maybe.
We might
Listen,
be.
I hope I'm wrong, dude. I hope I'm wrong. I hope, like, I was pretty active on Twitter before I shut my account down. I had like 2,000 followers. I was, doing live videos on Periscope. I liked the platform, but it wasn't crazy like every social media platform did with the pandemic and everything. But I am not convinced that there is not an ulterior motive to this, because you have to, and I'm not saying I understand this perfectly, okay? This is something, someone had to tell me this, all right? I didn't come up with all this stuff on my own. But it doesn't it make you wonder, Tim, what is the motive for a guy to buy a company that's a loser? He said the economics don't matter on this one. He said it. That was his words in an interview like 3 days ago. The economics of this don't matter. But he said the insinuation is the idea of free speech is more important than the economics of it. I hope he's dead serious about that. But I think that there's an underlying reason. And look, he wants to go to Mars. He wants to map the world and teach cars to drive autonomously. He wants to create this Neuralink that he's working on right now, and there's stories released that Neuralink is killing every animal that it's tested on. Praise God. praise God, pray no animals survive Neuralink and that thing dies, because Neuralink is potentially really dangerous, in my opinion. But there are other people like Joe Rogan who think Neuralink, you and I won't even have to talk, and no one will have to listen to us. We'll just all exchange our ideas through thought.
What is Neuralink?
Neuralink is an implant that goes directly into the side of your brain, behind the ear, similar to a cochlear implant, and they're going to map the brain. And the initial use for Neuralink is going to be for healing and rebuilding the brain that suffers from traumatic brain injury, or where wiring is messed up, let's say in some mentally ill, mentally handicapped people, schizophrenics and things like that. So it's a tool to remap and heal the brain. So the next logical step to that is that, well, maybe Neuralink is the key to our next step in the evolutionary process. And these discussions are being had all over the internet. And I'm not saying I buy into it, dude. Like and let's say it all comes true. Doesn't change anything in my theology. You know, all I'm saying is that let's be a little bit careful. Let's have a skeptical eye, and let's just, as Christians, look at this with a little bit of hopeful skepticism. But I think Elon Musk is I think he's brilliant, and brilliant people are scary sometimes. I mean, does anyone think Hitler was a dummy?
Yeah.
Does anyone think Stalin was a dummy? Mao Zedong?
Let's hear White House press secretary, America's princess, answer the question about Elon Musk purchasing Twitter.
Chucky?
And this is today. This happened today.
Breaking news, Twitter agreeing to let Elon Musk go through this purchase. Do you have a response to that? And does the White House have any concern that this new agreement might have President Trump back on the platform?
Well, I'm not going to comment on a specific transaction. What I can tell you as a general matter, no matter who owns or runs Twitter, the president has long been concerned about the power of large social media platforms, the power they have over our everyday lives, has long argued that tech platforms must be held accountable for the harms they cause. He's been a strong supporter of fundamental reforms to achieve that goal, including reforms to Section 230, enacting antitrust reforms, requiring more transparency, and more. And he's encouraged that there's bipartisan interest in Congress. In terms of what hypothetical policies might happen, I'm just not going to speak to that at this point in time.
And that's it.
They hate the power of social media because when social media is a truly free speech platform, the ideas of extreme progressivism, shall we call it, they just die on the vine. They cannot withstand scrutiny. It's why they lost to Trump in 2016.
Let me ask you some tough questions. You're in favor of 100% free speech. Nobody gets censored.
Total. Correct.
Even, well, you're going to have people advocating for abuse of children.
That would be a crime.
Yeah.
You can't commit crimes. There's penalties for crime.
But so the somebody wouldn't be allowed to go on. That's not free speech.
Anything that's legislated against, right? Like, for example, child pornography is not free speech. I don't think any pornography should be free speech, but child pornography is not free speech. Threatening anybody is not free speech. Now, the whole language is violence thing, right? Or well, now silence is violence, right?
So
I mean, everything.
So you're actually not advocating for 100% free speech.
Well, Tim,
somebody can't get on there and say, we don't like this people group, so we should all, whenever we see them, we should attack them.
That would be a crime. Yeah.
So they wouldn't be allowed to say that.
No, you can't use you can't, in the name of speech, commit crimes.
Well,
you can't say, for example,
it's not. Is it a crime to tell people to commit crime?
Yeah, it's called conspiracy
Okay.
to commit a felony of whatever nature.
So there is censorship.
Incitement.
I don't mean to be a ticky-tack pain in your butt, but there is some censorship.
Well, look, in a constitutional republic as our founders intended it, that free speech, maybe it would be allowed to threaten people, but the person being threatened might also be allowed to have an arsenal to protect themselves from the crazy people putting their ideas on social media. Because when seconds matter, the police are only minutes away, So, but because we don't live in that system anymore, we're living in the ashes of a fallen republic. We have to have. There are certain crimes that, actually inducing a crime. I don't know if you remember Morton Downey Jr. Remember Morton Downey Jr., the wild talk show host guy in the 80s?
Yes. Yeah.
Smoked cigarettes and, he had his audience kick the crap out of a guy once by saying, "Get him." I think that happened to Axl Rose, too, in a concert. He had people in the audience beat somebody up. That is a crime. You incited a mob to violence. It's kind of what they're trying to accuse Trump of. I don't want to say the date, but y'all know what I'm talking about. That's not legitimate, in my opinion. But there is legitimate speech, or there is legitimate crime committed by speech.
Before we move on, here's a tweet. I retweeted it. I'm going to delete my retweet, but I retweeted it only so that I would have it here for the show. Elon Musk buying Twitter titillates conservatives because they think he's going to restore their power to spread disinformation and hate. Seems more likely no one is going to be happy with it. Premature to panic or celebrate.
I kind of agree with the last part.
Yeah.
Premature to panic or celebrate, 100%.
Elon Musk tweeted 10 hours ago, "I hope that even my worst critics remain on Twitter because that is what free speech means."
That is how you get an accurate artificial intelligence. Sorry, man. Grab your tinfoil hats, everybody.
How do I delete that tweet? I have never been able to figure out how to unretweet a tweet. All right. So comment below. What do you think, folks, about Elon Musk? Do you think we're on the road to a conservative form of Twitter where Christians aren't, what is it called? Throttled. I've been throttled. I've been throttled forever. Which means even though I have 8,000 followers, 8,000 plus followers, when I tweet something, 8,000 plus followers do not see my tweet. They don't see it. Twitter decides how many people will see it, and usually it's not very many. Right? Isn't that what throttling is?
Yeah. Yep. They dialed back the ability for your followers to see you in their feed.
Okay, let me see if I can find... Okay, this is where we're going to go next. I'm going to read this meme, and we're going to come back to it after we get Len's report of... we're going to hear from Len how he's doing physically and what's going on. But this, Len, to prime our closing conversation... Here it is. Why is talking sexually in the workplace considered sexual harassment to adults, but talking about sexuality to children K through 3 at school considered essential? So stay tuned for that conversation. Len, last week we did podcasting. What night was that?
Monday night.
Was that the follow-up Monday night? We did Sunday
that was
and
the
Monday.
comment one.
We did
Monday
Sunday
Night Raw.
So we were live, and you didn't realize it at that time, but you were experiencing some symptoms of Bell's palsy. But now, when you go back and look at it, you can tell that you started to suffer from that, dude. So you're now suing BTWN Ministries for.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll be able to settle out of court. But the stress of podcasting has caused. Actually, I shouldn't make light of it, because it really is a very serious condition. And
well, it's as serious as Jada Pinkett Smith alopecia. That's about how serious it is in the grand scheme of things, right? Like, of all the things that at my age that I could be afflicted with, Bell's palsy is right up there with male pattern baldness, in my opinion. Maybe. So yeah. So Bell's palsy is basically there's a nerve in behind the ear, both ears. It's the cervical nerve number 7. And that basically talks to all the nerves on each side of the face. And on my right side, there is something that is attacking that nerve and shutting down all the nerve endings in my face, which is why when I smile, I look like this. So I can't puff up my cheeks, like I can't whistle. I can't wink. My right eye doesn't close at all. Unless I tape it shut. So I have to use eye drops and things like that. So the condition is common. I think it's like a little over 2.5% of the population gets it. It's like, I put it in my video. I can't remember the exact statistic, but it's a significant number of people that get this. And so I thought I was having a stroke Tuesday morning because of the limpness in my face. And so, of course, I went to the emergency room. And if you want to see a doctor quickly, when they ask you, why are you here today? Just say, I can't feel the right side of my face. And the doctor will be meeting you in the room in about 3 minutes, and they'll start testing you. That was my experience. So, but they did some physical testing on me. And I apologize for my speech impediment. But there's certain letters I can't say very well. P, B, F. Like, I have to kind of slow down my speech sometimes. I drool on myself a lot. It's really embarrassing to eat. I don't think I'll ever eat in public again, just for, not because of me, but because of my love for other people. So they don't have to, be disgusted. And the other thing that is affected is my palate. Everything tastes kind of terrible. I have a terrible taste in my mouth. That's almost like if you've ever had blood in your mouth from, like, going to the dentist, that kind of iron taste that's in your blood. It's like that mixed with mud. So sweets are terrible. Sweets just taste terrible. I'm thirsty all the time. And the things that really taste best are really spicy and savory foods, really salty stuff, or very bitter, like coffee. Black coffee tastes really good to me. So yeah. And I learned that I'm a big gum chewer. Big Red gum is about the only gum that helps with the getting rid of the taste in my mouth. Because I probably brush my teeth 5 times a day. Nothing does away with the taste in my mouth. And that's a very common symptom. It's also the first one to go away. So typically this lasts, I shouldn't say typically, but for about 60% of the people that go through this, they are 80% healed within a month. But I have a cousin who's had this for 20 years. And so this may very well be the rest of my life like this. And if this is the worst thing that ever happens to me, then praise the Lord, because this is not that bad. Like I said, it's right up there with alopecia. So but my wife isn't going to slap anyone. My wife won't slap you if you make fun of me, I promise.
So I've got up on the screen for people to see the thumbnail of your video, Learning to Live with Bell's Palsy. This video is 18 minutes long. You recorded it the other day. I'm going to put a link to it in the description of this video so that people can go and watch you talk about it. But we need to be praying for Len that this would be something that would be temporary, and a lot of the time it's not temporary. And
It's not. No. So I was going through 2 Corinthians 4 because I think on Instagram I used the word affliction, and 2 Corinthians. Well, I googled Bible verse with affliction in it because I know it's used in there. But here's what Paul says in 2 Corinthians 4:17. He says, "For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, is working for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory, while we do not look at the things which are seen, but the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporary, but the things which are not seen are eternal." Now let's back up and talk about the afflictions that Paul calls light. This is where it gets interesting. He says, "We are pressed on every side." This is verse 8, backing up in chapter 4. "We are pressed on every side, yet not crushed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Struck down, but not destroyed. Always carrying about in the body the dying of the Lord Jesus, that the life of Jesus also may be manifested in our body." I think that's such an interesting turn of phrase. That we're always carrying the body of the dying of the Lord, so that it may be manifested, that His life may be manifested in our body. So my affliction is nothing like what the apostles went through. I do appreciate prayer, but like I said, if this never changes, the only thing that really hurts right now is my pride. Just seeing such a radically different face when I look in the mirror. But I'll get over it.
Oh, that we would all have that same biblical, godly viewpoint on affliction. Things get hard. Things get difficult. And we need grace.
We do. I went through a really deep bout of depression when the pandemic first hit, and when you and I kind of split ways and kind of had our little falling out there temporarily, that was despair. The what I felt in that period of depression that lasted for about 3 months, I would not trade this for that. I'll tell you, that was terrible. And I've never understood depression until I went through it, So yeah, this is easy by comparison to what most people go through.
So it was 3 months? 3 months of depression?
Yeah, it was bad.
Well, why didn't you call me back for over 9 months then?
Well, you weren't the reason I was depressed, Tim.
I don't know. We've fully told that story before, but I know a lot of people are happy that we're back doing.
I'm happy that we're back.
So Len, let's look at this. I stole this from James Moore, who is a friend of the show. He put it on his Facebook. James Moore is a street preacher and bilingual, at least speaking.
Love James Moore. We met James Moore.
Yeah, we did in Washington, D.C.
Great guy.
I stole this from him. I didn't ask him for permission. I just said, I'm stealing this, and I put it on my Facebook wall and on Twitter. And here it is. Why is talking sexually in the workplace considered sexual harassment to adults? And this is so true. Like, this is really important, especially, well, I live in Pennsylvania, but my company that I work for is in New York State. Every single year I go through sexual harassment training. Every year. And it's very specific of what I can and cannot say or do, and how you are to respond to situations that it is a it's I'm obviously a Christian, a Bible believer, and I'm surprised at how strict the sexual harassment. You can't tell a sexual joke to another person of the same sex. You can't. In New York State, you if you listen to a sexual joke or you hear a sexual joke being told from one male to another male, you are to report that. That's how strict, because it's actually sexual harassment for me to hear two other men tell a dirty joke. That's sexual harassment. So that's really super strict.
Yep.
So the question is, why is talking sexually in the workplace considered sexual harassment to adults, but talking about sexuality to children K through 3 at school considered essential? A lot of people responding to that. A lot of people saying, hey, that's a really, really good point.
Well, first thing to understand about sexual harassment in the workplace, it has nothing to do with the safety of people. Nobody cares. Your human resources department, they are not hired to protect employees. They're hired to protect the company
from being sued.
Exactly. The last thing the company wants is to be sued. And there are things that terrify companies. Phrases like hostile work environment, for example, really scare them, because hostile work environment tends to cost corporations a lot of money. And so they're going to crush anything, Tim. Look, don't be surprised when your company says, listen, I know you're a Christian and we recognize your freedom of religious expression in our workplace. We welcome it. Wear that cross on your neck. Wear those cross earrings. Get a cross tattoo on your forehead. But please don't mention anything about your outreaches or your conferences. Don't talk about hell, because, how do you preach the gospel? How do you preach the good news without giving the bad news, right? So if you're giving a biblical gospel presentation, you're going to be fired in most jobs, especially if you're in the public schools. Like, you can talk about sodomy to children, but tell that sodomite he's going to hell. See which one of you get fired.
Your thoughts below in the comment section.
And by the way, Elon Musk can't fix this one. Elon Musk ain't fixing this one. So I guess, it's the hypocrisy. We live in this hyper-sexualized society where it's in front of our face all the time. I mean, you and I, Tim, we can see more naked women in 5 minutes than our grandfathers saw their whole lives. And probably before our grandfather, every one of our descendants all the way back to Adam never saw that many naked women. But now we have it at our fingertips right here, So we live in this society where sexuality is encouraged and applauded, and whatever form of depravity you want to celebrate, just celebrate it, but not to the point where you get my company sued. Don't go talking about your Tinder dates around the water cooler, because the transvestite in the corner might hear and be triggered because of the heteronormative workplace that they suffer through.
Oh, I wish. Well, I don't. I have to go through that every year. Every year I got to go through that. And I really can't talk about it. I can't talk about the different makeup of the other people that were in the room when I went through the training, but it was interesting. I got to wrap this up, Len, because I have a dog down here. My wife's in bed, and a dog down here who's telling me she wants to
Time to go.
She wants something, so I want to meet her needs rather than have her wake up my wife. So thanks for watching, everybody. Again, subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't already. Link to Len's video in the description of this video, and we're going to try to do this every Monday night or every Tuesday night, maybe both nights. It depends on our schedules. But we appreciate you watching, and we will be reading your comments. And until next video, thank you very much for watching, and may God bless each and every one of you. See you.